people that are interested in you. By Kimbrough Music Company, located at 820 Northeast 19th Street here in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 424-5080. This program is being made possible at Oklahoma's East Side's newest fish market, Bob Davis's Fish Market. Bob Davis, located at 3340 North Kelly Avenue here in Oklahoma City. If you want some fish today, all you have to do is call 424-7380. That's Bob Davis. You can buy catfish, buffalo fish, name the fish, any kind of fish, and he will fry it to your satisfaction. That's Bob Davis Fish Market, 3340 North Kelly Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I like to talk about the things that are new in Oklahoma City. We do have a new service. It's known as the Minority Media Service, located at 2333 East of Britton Road in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The telephone number is 478-2100. You can trust the Minority Media Service for effective cross-cultural communications, marketing, advertising, promotions, public relations, or research. They are experienced. Minority Media can give you the accurate data you need in all of these vital areas. They can measure your market share, analyze sales performance, improve advertising effectiveness, realign territories, expand your market by finding the area of greatest potential, establish or change marketing strategy in general, improve your sales and marketing decisions. No one else has our segmented marketing approach or our credentials. The Minority Media Service is also connected with KBYE and has gospel connections. You can hear them on radio Monday through Fridays from 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. That's the Minority Media Service. When I would like to thank all of you for calling about that article in the Ebony Tribune about the Freedom Fiesta. Show your appreciation to the Ebony Tribune by subscribing. You may subscribe for $16 a year, and that includes sales tax, so you may call 525-9885. That is the Ebony Tribune. And thank you, Ebony, for that fine article. Tonight at 6:30, may I repeat, the Freedom Fiesta dinner will take place. It will take place here in Oklahoma City at 9501 North Military. That's 9501 North Military. Reverend Ladd is the minister. Shelley, I know you're all excited because school is getting ready to start, and I do know that you have some important news for the people that are getting ready to go to school. Here's Shelley with our school special.
Yes, for everyone who is not aware, school begins Monday on August the 28th. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer vacation, but it's now time to go back to school.
Okay, I know you must be excited. Where are you going to school this year?
The best high school in Oklahoma City, Northeast High School, home of the Vikings.
Oh, so you will be there. And who's the principal this year?
The best principal in Oklahoma City, Miss Joyce Henderson.
Well, how does your football team look?
I don't know yet. I'll find out. Previews, which are Thursday and Friday, the 24th and 25th. We play at Taft Stadium, and then I'll be able to give you a complete report.
I understand that one of your friends is coming down for a vacation. Tell me about your friend.
Yes, my friend Robin Jenkins will be down here Thursday from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's her first time in Oklahoma.
Oh, where did you meet Robin?
I met Robin in Washington, D.C. about 9 years ago.
And then, when did you see her last?
I saw her last about 4 or 5 years ago in Los Angeles, California.
I understand that she had the opportunity to go to Acapulco or come to Oklahoma City to see you. You're all about the same age?
Yes, we're both juniors.
Oh, that's exciting. And where did she go to school?
I'm not sure. She attends school in Villanova, Pennsylvania.
Oh, well, that's great. Okay, we'll be back. Shelley will be back with our specials for today from Gordon's Grocery Store. Gordon's grocery store is located at 2121 South Portland, and Shelley will be telling you about it. Sir Charles announces the super sale, July 10th through September 23rd. It's time to size up the accomplishments of our tailor shop, and looking back, we know we have offered you, our customers, quality in service and workmanship. We also need to size up your needs and expectations, which is to save money, yet keep you informed and fitted to the fashions of today. I want to invite you to stop by our shop, if for no more than to discuss the latest fashion trends and the new fabrics that are available today. You have complimented us with your patronage, and in return, we're having our annual super sale for 2 months. And here, this is a direct thank you from Charles E. Woods. Now, they have some patch badges out there for $1 each. Military, police, highway patrol, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Security Guard. We will help. We will take care of your business. They will hem 2 pair of slacks or jeans for only $5. They will put cuffs or slacks with lining, 2 pairs for $9. They have ready-made clothing, men and ladies, ready-made blazers at the prices that you can afford. Now, all of this is at Sir Charles the Tailor, 6225 Southeast 15th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I want you to go out there and see those suspenders. They have some suspenders out there from $15 to $20 that you need to see. They also have suits, sport coats. You know, you can get an $800 suit out there for $600, $690 to be exact. You can get sport coats, $330, regular coats for $200 and some dollars. I want you to go out to Sir Charles the Tailor, 6225 Southeast 15th Street in Oklahoma City. I want you to be looking out for an annual publication honoring Black Americans. It's called Nobody Knows My Name. Now, I want you to be sure and look out for it. It will come out on February the 1st, 1990. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being made possible by your Allstate insurance agent. Allstate, your favorite agent, is Shelley Luper, and Shelley Luper's sister, and Shelley Luper is here to tell you about her sister.
If you need any home insurance, car insurance, or life insurance, call Merlin Hildreth at 848-7470, or you can come by the office at 9228 Suite 2B.
Okay, now what kind of insurance was that?
Suite 1B.
Oh.
And that's car insurance, life insurance, or home insurance.
Okay, car insurance, life insurance, home insurance, rental insurance. Remember, the name is Merlin Hildreth, your Allstate insurance agent. The address, once again, is 9228 North May Avenue, and the telephone number is 848-7470. 848-7470. Be sure and call Merlin, because Merlin will take care of your insurance business. I can hardly wait, because this is a week that I go to my optometrist, Dr. A.L. Dow. Dr. A.L. Dow is a top optometrist in America. He knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Now, that's Dr. A.L. Dow. Dr. Dow is located on Northeast 8th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Now, there are many things that you would like to do. And one of the things you would like to read, and you need to see to it that your child can read. And the way to do it is to make sure that your child's eyes have been tested. And take them to Dr. A.L. Dow here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Dr. A.L. Dow. On Sunday, August the 20th, is Doc Williams Day. Mrs. Gloria Matthews and Mrs. Laureen Ross will be in charge. This will take place at 4 o'clock p.m. at the Church of the Redeemer, 2100 Martin Luther King Avenue. Mrs. M.E. Sanders, international known speaker from Holderville, Oklahoma, will be the guest speaker. Now, that's at 4 o'clock p.m., Doc Williams Day. Dr. Dow's office address is 934 Northeast 8th Street. The telephone number is 235-0536 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Calvin Luper served as our parade coordinator today, and our parade started at 11 o'clock from Pitts Park here in Oklahoma City. Went west to Lottie, Lottie to 23rd, and then 23rd to Martin Luther King Avenue and on up to Freedom Center. We want you to come into Freedom Center, and those of you that are out riding and you need something cold to drink, why don't you stop by Freedom Center now, 2609 North of Martin Luther King Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Last Saturday, I had the opportunity to be the guest speaker at a Women's Day in Wichita, Kansas. And it was quite interesting, and this is certainly good news for those of you at Fifth Street Baptist Church. There were two members from Fifth Street Baptist Church who were members of the church that was sponsoring the Women's Day activities, Mrs. Carrie Nance and Mrs. Victoria Wortham. However, Victoria has married, and I keep thinking of Victoria as Victoria Wortham, but she is now Victoria Williams. And I would like to say that those women in Wichita, Kansas really had it together. It was just out of sight, and I was certainly honored. Not only that, they presented me an award, and I really appreciate it. And I received this week a nice letter from the pastor, Reverend Beasley, who was thanking me for being a part of that Women's Day program. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and for the past weeks, I've been talking to you about a situation that you have called me. All of you have called me and say, okay, Clara, you've told us all about the Davis. What is a real thing? Well, in Oklahoma City school system, there are some things that are happening that we cannot understand because there are some violations that are being done. For example, I would like to tell you that in Oklahoma City school system, we are going to have to look at it very closely because if not, we're going to be headed for some surprises. We need to know from the Oklahoma City Board of Education how much money has been spent on legal cases during the years since the Dow case. We would like to know, and we are sending a letter to Dr. Stella and to the board asking for that information because since it's your money, we feel that you need to know how much money is being spent. Well, on the Davis case, we are concerned with some things. We were concerned with why he was not notified about his position. He was the head coach at John Marshall High School, where he's held that position for about 19 years. And we would like to know why he was not notified before record day, May 31st, 1989. There was a copy of a letter that was sent out May 23rd about the basketball vacancy. And at that same time, all of us received it. And then after April the 15th, there was an application made for a job, and that was not supposed to take place after that date. Now, Mrs. Thomas had some questions that she must answer, or time will answer them for her. Mrs. Thomas told me that she hired the best qualified person for the job. But I would like for you to go down to the Board of Education and look at the qualifications yourself. You can do that. Compare Mr. Davis's qualifications with Mr. Griffin's. Well, Mrs. Thomas did not tell us in writing why Mr. Davis did not get the job, and she certainly did not go by seniority or unbroken service or the best qualified. On June the 1st, she notified by telephone, but that's not business, nor was a letter signed. On the 19th of May, the basketball schedule was given to Mr. Davis, and Charles at this time was listed as a head basketball coach. So we need to know what is happening. And we need to know why that case is so slow about coming up. We do not know. But we do know that Mr. Davis has done his job well. He has had 27 years of coaching experiences at Kennedy Junior High, Dungy High School, Classen High, and at John Marshall for 14 years. We do know that he won state championships in 1978 and 1983, becoming the first time in the history of John Marshall that school has won a state basketball championship. We do know that in 1987 he won the regional and area championship. We know that in 1988 he won the regional championship. We know that he's been honored by the Oklahoma Coaches Association for over 300 victories. That was in 85 and 86. He was the All-Star coach in 1985, Faith 7 coach in 1983. He won the Sun Belt Classic in 1985 and the Little All City Coach of the Year, All District 8 It was not surprising then that when a date was set for his hearing, all of the coaches in the Oklahoma City area were there. Outstanding ones like the one from Star Spencer, Northwest Clason, Southeast and East and others, because they wanted to tell the principal what a wonderful job he had done and what kind of competition he has given them through the years. I want all of you out in radio land to watch this case with eyes. I want you to watch them with ears and eyes, because the problem that exists, if we can get black people fighting each other, cutting each other's throat, we will not have to deal with the problem. The problem in the Oklahoma City school system is, what are we going to do with the kids that they call slow learners? And I don't believe in that term, slow learners, because of the fact that we could be slow teachers that are trying to teach slow learners what they call slow learners. And then as I travel all through this country and as I look at business people all over this land, and if you check business people out, they all aren't A students. But maybe we all don't need to be A students. And I brag because I graduated in the top 5 of my class. There were only 5 in my class. But I am bragging on those students that have been turned down, and in the Oklahoma City school system and others, we are holding them back, saying that they can't make it, they've got to come up to our classification. Well, one thing I can say with all historical facts, that Thomas Edison flunked, which meant that he couldn't make it in the Oklahoma City school system, yet he invented the electric lights. I would also say that Einstein, who came up with the formula for the atomic bomb, couldn't have made it in the Oklahoma City school system because he flunked in some of his courses. And I would like to bring it down to John F. Kennedy and others, but why do I need to do all of that? Now, in the closing minutes here, I would like to see, and I would like to say to all of you out in Radio Land, and I do appreciate your support for the past 31 years. Many of you have supported me at times that you were not able to do it, and I want you to know that in supporting me, you were really supporting yourselves, because you are the ones that are eating all over town. You are the ones that are living in hotels and enjoying yourselves. So I want to know that I appreciate it. As we come now to our death announcements, I would like to pause a moment in memory of Charlotte Louise Jackson Walker, who was born in Clearview, Oklahoma, and who attended elementary and secondary school in Clearview, who received her B.S. degree from Langston University and furthered her education at Oklahoma State University. I pause in memory of Charlotte, who taught for 28 years in Okfuskee County before retiring, and who not only was a school teacher, but was a proud mother of 9 children. Once again, I would like to pause in memory of Charlotte Louise Jackson Walker. Many of you will remember her through her husband, Ollie Walker, through her 5 daughters, Marie Bush of Clearview, Eunice Edison of Lawton, Eva Smith of Willeka, Marva Thomas of Marysville, California, Vanita Norton of Sacramento, California. Through her son, Bill Walker Sr., Olive Wallace and Lahoma Miller, her sisters, along with Mattie Houston of California, Virginia Crombie of San Francisco, California, her brothers Cleveland and Odell Jackson of Tulsa, Napoleon Jackson of Los Angeles, Floyd Jackson of Boston, and all of you know her 2 aunts, Irma Bonds and Alma Marino of Oklahoma City, 2 uncles, Milton Marino of Wewoka, Oklahoma, and Booker Marino of Tulsa, Oklahoma. We pause in memory. And now here's Shelley with the funeral and death announcements.
Temple & Son Funeral Home announces the services of Mr. Melvin Wilson of Tempe, Arizona, whose services will be Tuesday 11 a.m. at St. John Missionary Baptist Church.
We received the news a little while ago that Mr. William Hunter's sister died in Tennessee, and we would like to express our sympathy to the Hunter family. Today is a day. Today is Clara Luper's day. If you had the opportunity to speak to the thousands of people that Clara Luper would speak to today, what would you say? I would say thank you. And I would say to the people that you need your NACP memberships. If if you aren't a member of the NACP, why not? Why should you become a member? Why don't you read your history books? Because if you were black, you couldn't go in no restaurants before the NACP made it possible. And those of you that are planning to go out to dinner tonight, remember that's an NACP act. Those of you that will be getting on buses and sitting in the front, remember that's an NACP action. Those of you that will be playing football at the various universities in Oklahoma, remember that was an NACP act. And the football players should remember that. Somebody needs to tell them that if it had not been for the NACP's case, the Ada Lloyd Scipio case, they would not be jumping and hopping down at OU and OSU and these other universities. Somebody better tell them that. And now as we start another year, we must look at the real problem that faces us. And nobody's going to help us but us. Let's look at our number one problem, crime. Who are the young people that's committing the crimes in Oklahoma City? Those are our children. They were in our Sunday school classes. They were in our school classes. They lived on our streets. Why? What has turned our young people the other way? What have we done as adults to help them? Now, the responsibility in the final analysis must rest on us, U.S. Every time you see a child walking down the street, that child is a part of you. And what happens to that child will happen to you. There's a statute in America which says, give me your tired, give me your weak and your wearied. And each one of us as Christians should say, give us the kids that nobody else have time to fool with. And I was so proud of Joe Orange and his lovely wife today as the march completed and as there were young people up the Freedom Center that was hungry, and they went in their pockets and bought them hot dogs and pop. I shall never forget the expression on those young people's faces as they looked at a businessman that had time to take off from his business and come and participate in a parade and then feed hungry children. Oh, it's easy to talk about what's happening in Africa and what we are doing in our missionaries' societies. But if I would ask the white churches, if you know that we have plenty of crime here on the northeast side, why don't you get your Bibles and come over here? Why don't you spend some of that missionary money in Oklahoma City? You remember how you sent missionaries to Africa, to South America? Why not send some to Oklahoma City? And what about the black churches? What about the black sororities and fraternities? What about it? It's your responsibility. So what we need to do now is to clean up our streets, and we need to clean up our hearts. Our religion must extend and must expand out of the small areas of our churches. And we must go out, and we must meet our people and satisfy their needs. This is the Freedom Fiesta Week, and I would like to say to those of you that say, Miss Luper, I don't like what the Ku Klux Klans are saying. Let me tell you something. Our main enemy now is not the Ku Klux Klan. It's those that would sell drugs to our young people. It's those that would buy drugs, and it's those that would use drugs. Now, some of you black people told me that you didn't like what white people were doing to you. No white people got a gun on you making you buy drugs. No white people are coming over here selling drugs openly so they would go to jail. They have other things. They want to go to the beach. And the beach is all over this country. So what you've got to do is just be smart. If today, those of you that are listening to me would say, I will not buy any drugs, I will not use any drugs, don't you know that the whites that were arrested this week's pictures were not in the newspaper or on the television screens? Don't you know that it's the blacks that are dominating the news? Can't you read that? Don't you understand? How dare you back our people up? We must move forward, and we must move forward together. Tonight I'll see you at that big Freedom Fiesta dinner. Tomorrow I'll see you at 4 o'clock. And until then, go in your pockets and help the NACP Youth Council. And remember that Clara Luper walked today, and I'm still walking. Bye-bye, and I do love you.
Valley Hope is recognized as one of
I belong to the vegetarian class because I'm a shepherd, and my daddy One time my mother fixed dinner for him and didn't have no meat, and he said, "What's wrong? What's wrong? I want some meat." And speaking of meat, you can get it if you get that education and get that job. Dr. Clark, how's the outlook this year for freshmen?
Well, we're very excited about this freshman orientation that's coming up. In fact, it starts tomorrow, Sunday, August 13th. We expect the freshmen to move into the dormitories.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Our first session is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in IW Young Auditorium. However, the freshmen can begin moving in the dormitories at 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock in the morning,
Sunday
they will
morning.
start. About how many freshmen are you expecting?
Oh, I'm expecting 1,000, but
1,000 freshmen for
But,
1989. Okay, now you say they move in and then you have orientation. What do you mean by that?
During orientation, we have two types of activities. One is registration and enrollment. That's an activity. And once that's completed, then we have seminars and workshops to begin that student on a path of success. And these workshops bridge the gap from how to decorate your dormitory room to group living and responsibility. In other words, we have activities that will give these new lions an orientation to Langston University. We advertise that we are family at Langston University, and from the very beginning, we work with the parents and the students starting on Sunday through their entire years at Langston University to perpetuate the family idea. And you had asked Dr. Holloway a few minutes ago about the minority students at Langston University, the white students. And I would just like to add that our white students are our best recruiters. They have received the kind of support that they need at Langston University, and each one brings one is really a cliche that works with our students at Langston University. They are happy with what we do. A lot of our older students in the beginning were white students, but now we're getting 17 and 18-year-olds coming because, as Dr. Holloway said, now they can say that my mother and father or a relative is attending Langston University. So we're getting a lot of students who are younger as well as continue to get the older students.
All right, and now you start on your freshman week starts tomorrow. So those of you that are in Oklahoma, Texas, or Kansas, remember, if you're a freshman, you're supposed to be there tomorrow about what time?
They can check in the dormitories anytime after 8 o'clock in the morning, but the first session is at 4 o'clock in the IW Young Auditorium. And at this session, we will greet the parents and explain to them the things that we will be doing the entire semester, and also to give information to the students about the upcoming week.
All right, I understand that you have an honors program. I think they call it the new honors program at Langston. What is that?
We're very excited about that program. It's called the McCabe Scholars Program.
The who?
McCabe. It was named after the founder of the city of Langston, Edwin P. McCabe. And this scholars program is one that will be very intensive for the students who are academically higher in their academic achievements, and there will be special activities for these students to enhance their matriculation at Langston University.
We were talking in Detroit about Langston University, and we reminded everyone that you had a choir this year that went overseas. Tell me about it.
Yes, our choir is now known as the International Choir. And this year they were invited to Spain, and they traveled to Spain and stayed, a couple of weeks, and even had concerts at several other places in addition to Spain, Lebanon and a few other cities.
Okay, what happened that you were invited? There are a lot of colleges and universities in the United States, and how in the world did Langston University get that invitation?
I would like to respond to that. I would simply say that our renowned directress certainly is one that has a lot of contact throughout the world, and she's an Oberlin graduate. And through her influence, I must say that we were extended an invitation by that particular group.
Who is she? Who
Miss
is
Rainbow.
He? Mrs. Rainbow.
Yes.
I'll be back in just a minute. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show.
Through Sunday.
Save $4 on your Frontier City ticket with discount coupons from Love's Country Stores. Pleasant dreams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy good evening to you, wherever you are. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow, and Rainbow is good bread. Today is a big day. This is a day of the 1989 Freedom Fiesta. This is called Freedom Fiesta Week, and I will be telling you about how successful that week has been so far. Shelley is here to help me tell the story today of the Freedom Fiesta Week. On Monday night, a group of advisors and NAACP members met at Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue, to discuss the Freedom Fiesta. Then on Tuesday, it was Cecil L. Williams, Leola Ford, Cheryl Fowler's Day, with assistance from Mrs. Lillian Rose. It was a great day. They talked about voters' registration and the Freedom Fiesta. They sold hot dogs and pop in order that the dreams of NAACP Youth Council members could become a reality. Then it was Wednesday. Mrs. Sononia Bennett sent invitations to all of the 13 original sit-inners. And the group gathered in a sit-inners tea at Ralph Ellison's library. And there Mrs. Bennett presented a special program with questions and questions to the members of the sit-inners. What a night. Then on Thursday night, it was a youth night when they came together and said, we are going to have a Freedom Fiesta party. And it was the doors of Chauncey Chardina's daycare center that was open for all of them. And then on Friday night, one of the top fashion shows was presented on Lillian Oliver, Letty Ruth Hunter, and Nancy Davis's day. It was a show to be remembered, but for all of those that were there, they will tell you that the top modeler was Mrs. Gloria Matthews. Mrs. Gloria Matthews gave the crowd what they wanted, and that was fashions. She showed them evening wear, sports wear, and then there was a salute to what you would wear in the wintertime. A great show on Friday night, and congratulations are in order for Mrs. Letty Ruth Hunter and others. There was a big coronation, and it was the coronation of the Freedom Fiesta Queen. The queen this year was a lovely, talented Nate Patterson. The king was her twin brother, Dante Patterson, crowned last night at the big fashion show. Today was Clara Luper's day. 31 years ago, they decided to call this day Clara Luper's Day because of the fact that Clara Luper represented all of those that participated in the sit-in movement. And I will be back to tell you more about that day. In the meantime, this program is being brought to you by Sherry's Cleaners. Sherry's Cleaners, the cleaners that clean your clothes just like you want them. Your clothes can always be clean, and you can take them there in the morning and pick them up in the evening. Or you say, well, I'm going somewhere for the weekend. Don't worry about it. Let Carlos Williams clean your clothes. Carlos is professional. First, he's trained. And secondly, he's had experience. Go to Sherry's Cleaners, 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue, and tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. Now, I want you to call me today, and certainly we will be talking about the Freedom Fiesta, the sit-in movement, and what you feel we must do. This is Clara Luper. Hello? I'm sorry, you may call back, and I think that was Benny Riley. You may call back. Well, let's go over today. Today was the Clara Luper's day. Started out this morning with a breakfast. It was a family breakfast where the family members got together and talked about what happened 31 years ago. And at 11 o'clock, we had our 31st annual parade. It was an interesting parade because the people that were committed to upholding what those 13 young people stood for were there. And many of you will have the opportunity to see this parade on television because we were covered by all of the stations this morning. It was a heart-warming experience for me because of the people that came, because of the people that cared enough to say to the world, I remember that day. They were there. How can you say thank you? I don't have to say thank you to the people that participated in the parade today because those people are part of a movement for freedom. And I would like to just say we've got to keep moving, we've got to keep marching, and we've got to keep standing on this, the 31st anniversary of the sit-in movement. And those of you that would like to help, you may stop by Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue, and try one of those Ford's hot dogs. Those Ford hot dogs are delicious. And if you, after you finish the Ford's hot dog, you will want the Fowler hot dog. That Fowler hot dog will be out of sight. Well, today is the Clara Luper's Day, and I'm so proud that that day carries my name. Clara Luper's Day. Tonight at exactly 6:30, people will gather for the Clara Luper's Freedom Fiesta dinner. Now, those of you that want to come, why don't you come on? The plates are only $20 each. And for $20 tonight, you're going to get the most delicious meal you have ever had. Now, if you aren't able to pay tonight, you can bring your credit card, and everything will be all right. That's tonight at 6:30 at 9501 North Military at Reverend Ladd's Church. And I know that you will, and I will be telling you more about that. Today I'm going to give you some opportunities to talk to me, and I'm so happy because my sister from Arizona is here, and she will have the opportunity to say hello to all of you out in radio today. The same group of NAACP youth members had congregated at my house located at 1819 Northeast Park in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It was August 19th, 1958. The long, hot summer's heat seemed endurable in a small, five-room, white-frame house. The mosquitoes were in complete control outside, and the youngsters remained inside when they, with sweat on their faces, were engaged in their weekly meetings. Gwendolyn Fuller, president of the council, was present and presiding. Ruth Tolliver and I were in the kitchen preparing grape Kool-Aid and lunch meat sandwiches. I'm reading about that day 31 years ago. There was no advisor, youth council membership relationship then. It was a far deeper feeling that I had for the NAACP Youth Council members. I had watched them grow up from infancy. I had seen their minds develop and the values which they would carry through their lives changed. I knew their parents, and I knew how much their parents loved them. I knew how unpopular it was to have your children involved in the NAACP Youth Council activities. It was even more difficult to get adults involved in the Youth Council. I'm telling you about that day, August 19th, 1989. And now it's Shelley.
This was not the first NAACP Youth Council to operate in Oklahoma City. Mrs. Lucille McClendon had worked untiringly with the group some years before. Non-participation and non-support had spelled doom for the Youth Council. Through the leadership of John B. White and the insistence of Mr. and Mrs. D.J. Diggs and others, I had decided to take over the responsibility of reorganizing the Oklahoma City NAACP Youth Council. The fact that I was teaching American history at Dungy High School in Spencer, Oklahoma, and was a member of the Fifth Street Baptist Church furnished me with an ample number of young people who would become the nucleus of the Youth Council. William Miles, a student from Dungy School, had been elected as the first president.
Each year at school, I would present plays during Negro History Week, as it was called then. In 1957, I presented Brother President, the story of Martin Luther King Jr., and the nonviolent techniques that were used to eliminate segregation in Montgomery, Alabama. The cast consisted of 26 students that were talented, ambitious, and dedicated. The leading characters were William Miles, Joseph Hill, and Maxine Dardale. This play had filled the auditorium at Dungy High School and drew tremendous turnouts all over the state.
In 1957, it was presented at the East 6th Street Christian Church, where Herbert Wright, the National Youth Director of NAACP, was in attendance. He was so impressed with the play that he invited me to present it in New York City at a Salute to Young Freedom Fighters rally. He agreed to pay the main character's expenses. However, I thoroughly understood the financial plight of the NAACP's national office, and we worked out a compromise. We would raise the money for transportation, and he'd take care of our hotel and food bill in New York City.
Reverend J.S. Sykes, a very active CME minister, Mr. A. Willie James, the #1 NAACP membership writer, and Doc Williams, well-known bondsman and real estate dealer, helped me to raise $1,895 in order that we could make the trip. The Oklahoma City community responded rapidly and shared in our adventure.
The cast, most of whom who had never been out of Oklahoma City, stopped in St. Louis for dinner and experienced their first integrated lunch counter service. This they continued to enjoy and appreciate on the trip. Words are inadequate to describe the expression and action of young people who by tradition and custom had been separated by the strong visible walls of segregation.
The group stayed at the Henry Hudson Hotel in New York City, and the play was presented in both Manhattan and Harlem. The youth met freedom fighters from the South, and the excitement and adventure of such a trip had a permanent effect on their lives.
In planning the trip, we decided to go the northern route and return by the southern route. On our return trip, we stopped in Washington, D.C. and visited the top historical spots, including Arlington National Cemetery. As we stood in the cemetery and watched the changing of the guard, each youth had an opportunity to think about freedom. One asked, "What do you think would happen in this country if the unknown soldier's casket was open and they would find out that he was black?" Joan Johnson said, "I don't know."
Barbara Posey, the secretary of the Youth Council, told the group that since all of those people had died for our freedom, we need to really get busy and do something for our country. Yes, these people that are buried at Arlington Cemetery did all they could for freedom. I don't think the color of the unknown skin is of the unknown soldier's skin is important. I think it's what he did, and we have to do something.
Silently, the group left Arlington Cemetery after pledging that they'd do something for their country and loaded on the Greyhound bus. As the bus headed southward, the walls of segregation became so visible. In Nashville, Tennessee, the bus driver admitted that he did not know of any place where blacks could sit down and eat, so paper sack lunches became the order of the day through Tennessee, Arkansas, and into Oklahoma.
John White's words, "The sooner state, the sooner we get rid of segregation, the better off we would be," were repeated continuously by the group. True, you know, segregation just doesn't fit in with my personality, William Miles said with a quick smile that faded back to a face of solemnity. The group applauded with loud outbursts of "Freedom now! Freedom now!"
Back in Oklahoma City, the group decided to break down segregation in public accommodations for all time and pay any price for it. That will be our project, to eliminate segregation in public accommodations, the group said.
A strategy was worked out, where the public accommodations owners and managers would be approached directly by a small delegation. There was never to be over 3 in the delegation, and Mrs. Caroline Burks, a stately, freedom-loving white woman, was to accompany the groups on all occasions. This she did, with a dedication that was followed up with letters and personal visits. This campaign was followed by a direct private approach to the city manager and city council, which told the groups, "We are sorry. We do not have the power to interfere in private businesses. We don't tell the businessmen who to serve, and they don't tell us how to run our city government." The campaign turned into a letter-writing campaign to churches. The white church leaders turned a deaf ear as their beautiful buildings stood as monuments to their dedication to Christianity. The black churches at this time did not want to get involved and told us that we could meet in their churches, but as for an involvement, totally no. They would take up a collection for us and make announcements concerning our worthwhile activities.
The meeting continued with a warm-up chanting rally. The group was chanting, "We want to eat. We want to eat. Now, now, now. We don't want any more excuses. We want to eat. We want to eat. Now, now, now."
We are reading to you what happened on August the 19th, 1958. We are reading from Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. Gwendolyn Fuller leaned back in her chair and looked as a group was singing and clapping, and they grew louder and louder. Barbara Posey, the spokesman for the Public Accommodations Committee, made her report. The owners of all public accommodations in Oklahoma City say they will not serve blacks. Now, what are we going to do? Marilyn Luper spoke up. "I'll tell you, Barbara. I'll move that we go down to Cat's drugstore and sit down and drink a Coke." "I second the motion," said Rita Tolliver. The motion was carried unanimously by the group.
A silent, when shall we go, the group asked, as if in a choir. "Gwen, let me tell you, you know that I made the motion to go, and I feel that I should have the privilege of deciding when we should go," said Marilyn Luper.
A silence fell over the meeting, and after a few minutes, with Marilyn staring into the future, she said, "Tonight is the time. And as I read in Mr. Wisner's typing book, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party." Calvin spoke. "That doesn't mean that we will have to go tonight."
A brother-sister debate occurred, and in a high-toned voice, Calvin said, "Don't you ever think that I'm afraid to go?"
Barbara Posey said, "We have waited for over 15 months, and Oklahoma has waited 50 years. Let's go down and wait in front of the manager so that people can see our problems."
Portwood Williams Jr. said, "The men in the NAACP Youth Council are ready to go right now, and we are able to take care of any situation."
"We wouldn't doubt that," said Gwendolyn, and a bit of laughter sparkled in the air and echoed back into moments of silence.
Barbara Posey was recognized by the president, Gwendolyn Fuller, and she said, "We had better see what Mrs. Luper thinks. After all, she is the youth advisor."
I could feel the eyes of the members on me. I thought for a brief moment and traced the steps that we had taken. We had been patient, and I saw in the children's eyes reflections of my restless childhood when I wanted to do something about a system that had paralyzed my movements and made me an outsider in my own country. Yet these were children whose ages ranged from 7 to 15 years old. I thought about my father, who had died in 1957 in a veterans hospital and who had never been able to sit down and eat a meal in a decent restaurant. I remember how he used to tell us that someday he would take us to dinner and to parks and to zoos. And when I asked him when was someday, he would always say, "Someday will be real soon," as tears ran down his cheeks. So my answer was, yes, tonight is the night. History compels us to go, and let history alone be our final judge. We had another problem. We didn't have any transportation. Ruth Tolliver and I discussed the situation and decided to call 3 people that we knew wouldn't turn us down. Portwood Williams Sr., Lillian Oliver, and Mary Pogue were selected.
I called Portwood Williams first. He lived in the next block. Mr. Williams was a talkative man with a sharp tongue, quick wit, and an adequate supply of words. He said, "I want to volunteer to drive car number 1 down to Cat's drugstore. My car is clean and ready. I don't blame you. I shined Mr. Charlie's shoes, and my mother washed Miss Ann's clothes. Now I'm an upholsterer of the best in town, and my car is ready. I'll be there."
My next call was to Mrs. Lillian Oliver, a quiet, dignified, tall school teacher, and one who had served as an assistant NAACP Youth Council advisor. I had known her since 1940, and through the years we had been very close friends. I told her that I needed another car to take the NAACP youth down to Cat's drugstore. She didn't ask any questions. She said, "I'll be there in a few minutes. If you all are crazy enough to go, I'm crazy enough to take you."
I hurried back into the house and called Mary Pogue, the mother of 2 of the youth. I knew that she would make me explain everything to her in detail, and she did. After I finished, she said, "I'll be there in a few minutes."
I put the telephone down, and then I heard it ring again. I had a feeling that it was my mother, and I knew that it was not the proper time for me to tell her that what we were going to do. I picked up the telephone and she said, I just called to see if the NACP youth meeting was over. I said, no, Mother, it is not over. In fact, we are just beginning. She said, well, Clara, don't keep the kids up too late. You know tomorrow. I said, yes, Mother. I'm going to take you downtown to eat for your birthday, which is only 2 days away. She said, Clara, you aren't going to take me anywhere tomorrow. I'm not thinking about those white folks. What day is tomorrow anyway? Well, Clara, we won't worry about it, for tomorrow is just another day. I said, yes, Mama, tomorrow is just another day. I rushed out of my house on that still hot August night, August 19, 1958. We headed to Katz Drugstore in the heart of Oklahoma City. I went to the 3 cars and I called the following names: Richard Brown, Elmer Edwards, Linda Pogue, Lana Pogue, Arita Tolliver, Calvin Luper, Marilyn Luper, Portwood Williams Jr., Lynzetta Jones, Gwendolyn Fuller, Alma Faye Posey, Barbara Posey, Goldie Battle, and Betty Germany. There you have what happened 31 years ago, and that's why today we are celebrating Clara Luper's Day in honor of the sit-in movement. Now we want you to call us today at 478-2103, those of you that are listening that remember the sit-ins. I will give you the opportunity to say anything that you want to about the sit-ins. Because years ago, 31 years ago, many of you disagreed with us. But it's 31 years have now rolled into history, and we remember. You want to know what we plan to do. We plan to continue to improve Freedom Center. And we plan to continue the great struggle for justice, liberty, and equality. And I want to see a monument at Freedom Center in memory of black people. In fact, we will call it the Black History Monument. At the bottom of that monument, there will be a picture of Africa, emphasis on West Africa, where the slaves came from. Then we will move from 1619 to 1863 and 1865, when blacks were slaves. And we will move in that monument on a different period, a period of legal segregation. And just a little higher, we will see people who washed dishes and scrubbed pots, who chopped cotton, who cleaned bathrooms, in order that their children could get an education and could go places they had never gone, and they could see things they had never seen. This is our plan. The emphasis this week has been on invest in youth, and youth must invest in themselves. This investment will be seen as this monument with eyes up, looking up to the sky, knowing that if we get an education, and I'm talking about not only education as we have known it, but if we can obtain a spiritual education, we will not have to worry about crime, drugs, and all of that, because we know we will have a date with destiny. Today we are talking about the sit-in movement and what you can do. Do you want to support it? Or do you want to do like you did 31 years ago? You were at home that day and you looked on television to see what happened to us. Look on television tonight and see what happened to us today. And if you want to invest in the NACP Youth Council, let me know. This is Clara Luper.
Hello, Mom?
Yes.
This is Bobby Battle.
Yes, Bobby.
Through the NAACP Fairview Baptist Church, I want to make it known that we're going to help sponsor at least 5 people to attend the Freedom Fiesta Week. Those tickets are $20 a piece, and we're going to pay half price. We're going to pay $10 to 20 people if they want to go and attend the Freedom Fiesta Week. What I'm saying in totality is that we will pay half of the fee for them, and those tickets can be picked up through you.
All right.
We will pay $10 on those tickets for 10 people that wants to attend the Freedom Festival. That way it'll take some of the monetary load off of them.
Okay, now how can we select, how would you recommend that we would select those people? And we do have people, our radio audience that's listening now.
I would recommend that if those people, the people that I feel should take priority in this program are people with kids. I think if they have a family with kids, those are the people that we really want to have these tickets where they can take their kids and let their kids know that, Oklahoma City was not always like it is today. And the kids can get an overview of how tough it was and some of the things that you and a lot of other brothers and sisters here in Oklahoma County went through just to make it possible where we could have a nice home, eat in a nice restaurant, and have some of the finer things that this life has to offer us. And I think the young kids should have a chance to see this by demonstration, by example, and that's why we're doing this for these families.
Okay, now that's the Fairview Baptist Church, and who is your pastor?
Reverend J.A. Reed, Jr., and we're located at 721 North Rhode Island. And also the Black Cultural Awareness Society is a part of this program, and it's a program that is implemented for the purpose of establishing a new and better government within our respective communities here in Oklahoma City.
Bobby, during the past week, the sons and daughters of the Confederacy have been meeting in Oklahoma City. And during this past week, those people that fought for the preservation of slavery have been here by the hundreds. They are perpetuating their history. And if those people are here, maybe they can understand why we are marching today, why we have marched today, and why we are going to build a monument to perpetuate our history. Right. Somebody asked me today, they were all excited because of the Ku Klux Klaners telephone number that I would not dare give you on this radio program. Right. And they say to me, oh, I'm so upset about it. And I say to them, that is not upsetting to me, and I want to make that clear, because I don't know a day of my life that I don't get some calls from some people who are anti-black,
right,
anti-Negro, or whatever you want to call us.
Right.
I don't know a week that I don't get a hate letter. And somebody say that you know what I've been through. You couldn't even understand the pains that I've been through it. You don't even know what it means to go to jail 26 times. You can't understand what it means to be spit on. You can't understand to be called names and things you can't understand.
Right, you have to have been there before you can really understand what's going on.
You really do. Unless you were there. And I know a lot of people saying, were you there when they crucified Jesus? I'm glad they sang it. Because if they had been there, they would have done just like they did us today. They would have stayed home and waited until television time and looked at it on television, because
right,
it's easy to sing that.
Right.
And it's easy to talk about love in a church, but when you get out here on the streets, it's altogether different.
It's a different ball game.
It's a different ball game. And one news reporter asked me today, how many people are you expecting? I said, 31 years ago, there were 13. And if we have 13, I will thank God for it. And some people say, Clara, where are all your friends? Where are your sororities and your fraternities? I said, I cannot speak for my sororities and my fraternities, nor can I speak for my ministers and the other leaders in Oklahoma City. All I can say is what one great religious leader said. I was glad that I was there today.
Right. I love it. I love it.
And I know you would have been there had you not been on radio.
Ain't no question about it.
Okay. Well, I'll see you.
I would have been there.
I'll see you tonight, and anyone that would like a ticket, call me at 478-2103.
Also, we're having a picnic Sunday evening at Fairview Baptist Church, and we're going to give away probably, with the help of the NAACP, we're going to give away approximately 50 tickets to the ball game that's coming up September 1 through the 3rd. If you just come by and pick up your ticket, hopefully, again, you'll have kids, and it's a good outing for them, a good quality time relaxation period for the family. So take advantage of that also. That will begin Sunday evening at Fairview Baptist Church. We have 50 tickets for families that can take the kids to a softball game.
Okay, then.
We have the NAACP to thank for that.
Okay.
Well, again, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Somebody asked me where were the NAACP executive board members today. Why didn't they participate? I don't think you should ask me. You should ask each individual board member. All that we have done, it's been in all of the papers, it's been on radio, TV. The invitation has been there. Please do not ask me about the NAACP executive board members. And tonight, you'll be at the dinner, and you see how many of those board members will be present. Mr. Leslie Brown has purchased a ticket. Mrs. Ira Holmes, as always, will be there, I know. And the President Milton has purchased a ticket, but his daughter's getting married today, and he could not be there. Now, I don't know about the rest, but I do know 31 years ago there were only 13, and they were not adults. They were children. On Sunday, the Freedom Fiesta will close with one of the most dynamic speakers in the United States and one of the most sought-after speakers, Mrs.